Hello again, this is installment number 3, perfect competition, market and the firm interacting to identify short run and long run equilibria. In addition to that, we call this topic, the greater topic that we're discussing, the entry-exit decision of a firm. We saw in installment number 2 that the firm just happened because of where we saw the average total cost curve. The firm was earning a positive economic profit, and that meant that other resource owners would enter the market, other firms enter the market, shift the demand curve for the individual firm up to the point where finally the marginal firm earns zero economic profits and we have long-run equilibrium. That was scenario number 1, positive economic profits. Let's take a look at sort of scenario number 2, which will say, well, we'll find out what it is. Let's go ahead and put a couple curves up here. We're going to add one more curve for this analysis. Here's our average total cost curve. And in this situation, we're going to add one more curve, the average variable cost curve. If you don't recognize why that should be as it is, you need to go back and review. The average total cost will be the summation of average variable cost and average fixed cost. So the difference between the two, which is ever declining, is the average fixed cost. Important to know that. But in this case, we have both of them, and there's a reason for it. We'll find out here. What are we going to do here? Well, again, we're going to operate at Q hat, which was solution step number 1. Go back to the first installment of this tape to understand that. And Q hat, we're going to extend this upwards to help us identify other values of these other variables. So, to understand profitability, we need to compare AR and AC, average revenue and average total cost, at Q hat. Do we know average revenue? Absolutely. It's the demand curve. Keep saying that, demand curve. For a non-price discriminating firm, even a monopolistically competitive firm, if we don't discriminate in prices with our customers, the price will always be the average because everybody's paying the same price. So there we go. We have the average revenue. It's still that point that we looked at just a moment ago. Here's average revenue. Do we know what the average total cost will be? Yep. It's the average total cost curve, but it has to be along the line, along this line segment for Q hat. We only care about values at Q hat because Q hat is the value at which this firm will operate if it wants to be a profit maximizing firm. Don't forget to put your labels. Ooh, shame on me. Good. So there we are. This firm's going to operate there. Now we go back and evaluate this. Well, which is higher? Average cost here is above average revenue, which means this will be negative. This firm is earning negative economic profits, a loss. What will the firm do? We need to evaluate one more thing, investigate what's happening to variable costs. Variable costs represent, I should also say that this total region here, this block, would be the loss. But variable costs represent those costs that relate to the actual operations at that moment. They're those things that we would only pay because we do operate. Fixed costs are those things we pay whether we stay home or we go in. It could be lease costs, it could be insurance costs, things that on an annual basis perhaps we have to pay, but in between the payments, the annual payments, we have to accrue money, save money to pay the next one, whether or not we're working. The insurance has to be paid whether or not we're really in the building. Things like that. The lease costs, we rent a place for $100,000, we're paying the rent whether it's Saturday, Sunday, we're not there, or it's a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, we're working. So those are fixed. But in this case, variable only if we're going to go in and work do we pay them. And we can see here that the variable costs of this firm are above the revenues. The average variable costs are greater than the average revenues. It costs more to go in and make the product that day. The salaries, the heat and lights, the whatever else is the actual materials that we're using. It costs more for those things than we're going to receive when we sell them. Which means that our situation only gets worse by operating. So this is scenario number 2. Number 1 was average total cost beneath average revenue. Firm makes money, things are great. Scenario number 2 is the firm loses money and average variable is above average revenue. Lose money and working is a bad idea. In that case, what will happen here? Again, this firm and other firms in this situation will exit the market. When they exit the market, the supply curve will shift leftwards. How far? Well, it will shift leftwards just as much until it gets to about this point. and now we have a new equilibrium, and we come across the new equilibrium will be such that we'll be at the, new equilibrium coming down here, sorry. We'll shift over here, we're at the point where, there we are, we'll be exactly at the minimum of the average total cost curve, and this firm will be earning 0 economic profits. So firms will leave the market to raise the price, until finally it gets high enough where the average revenue is equal to the average cost, and there's 0 economic profits, there's no incentive for firms to enter or exit, and we have long-run equilibrium. That's scenario number 2. Number 3, let's undo some of this. So we start off in the same situation where we're going to move our cost curves. Same marginal cost curve, same initial Q hat. Except this time we'll put the average total cost curve here. Well, put this one here. And